Hey, alright guys, so as you can see with all these pine needles that are all on my table here, and if you can see the color of the leaves, this is fall, and one of the best times to fish. I love fall fishing. Fish are a little bit more active than whenever it's really hot outside. Also, once you find the fish, they're normally in groups, which is great because it can make fishing a lot of fun. You can also make fishing not so fun if you don't find the groups, but you know, that's you look around for them, you use clues, stuff like that. But anyways, one thing fall means to me is topwater. Um, I believe it's one of the best times to do some topwater. Also in there, spinner baits, rattle traps, crankbaits, jerk baits, but topwater seems to be very, very effective. One thing you're looking for topwater is smooth water, glassy water. Can be a little bit choppy depending on what you're using, but that all depends. And you know, well, let's get started with the lures that I specifically use this time of year, but also the rod and reel setup that I do use the majority of the time. Alright guys, let's get started with the lures, the different ones we have. We have walking ones, popping ones, we have prop baits, and we have, well, that's about it. We got the jitterbug. You would probably consider that almost a walking, depending on how you use it. But there are different speeds. You got the fast ones, you got the slow ones, you got the medium ones, so you can work different speeds. The most important walking bait that I have is a Heddon Zara Spook. Right here is the full size one. It's a nice, it's almost like a rainbow trout kind of color. Now I don't use this large one too much, you know, but this one will definitely call them. So you walk it and it'll walk kind of like this, depending on how you're using it. It's gonna stay almost in one place and walk around, or you can do it kind of a quicker. But there's the full size one. I've had this one forever, and this paint job has held up really good. So those are really good ones, and they have a really nice rattle. Another one of those is a Heddon Zara Puppy. I don't really use this one too much, but and then just this summer I got the Zara Spook Junior. It's on my rod right now. Haven't used it almost at all except for really last week. Caught a nice pike on it. You can see there's some teeth marks on there. But you know, really good baits right there. I also caught a couple smallmouths on them. But let's move on to the popping style. Right here is the Rebel Pop-R, probably one of the most widely known poppers, with a nice feather tail, bucktail tail. This is in the bone color. I really like these Pop-Rs. There's 2 ball bearings, I believe, or shots. They're in here. And what happens is whenever you actually cast it, that they travel from here to the end, so you can really cast this a good distance. It makes a really nice sound on there. You can use these in a variety of ways. Really slow popping, a fast popping, into a popping where you almost like don't even stop reeling. Depends on how you want to use it. And then I also have a Rapala Skitter Pop. Yeah, Skitter Pop. This one's pretty good. It's in like their bullfrog color. Caught a couple fish on that one. But I love these Pop-Rs. The way it's shaped, it gets fish all the time. Next thing is going to be a prop bait. I don't use prop baits too much. Main reason why is the ones I want to get are like 20 bucks. And being a college student, I just can't see dropping $20 on one lure. I can see like $8, $10, but $20, that's pretty ridiculous. I believe it was the Ima Helix. Maybe it's like $16.99. That's the one I really want to get. But these ones do work. This one is a head and baby torpedo. They have a little bit larger ones. And then I have this old one, forget what exactly it's called. Oh, right here. Phillips Crippled Killers. A really crazy old one. I've tried it a couple times. It actually works pretty well. I haven't caught too much fish on a prop bait. As you can see, I'm not using the most state-of-the-art one, so maybe that's why. Someone can chip in and chime in and tell me. And next one, which is a kind of a constant reeling one, is the jitterbug. These jitterbugs are absolutely amazing. I got tons of them, but the two main ones that are both Armagost, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Here's this really nice, kind of like a neon one. I've caught a lot of fish really close, almost at night, actually, yeah, at night. Especially rock bass. I seem to catch rock bass on that thing a lot. And then here's a little bit of a bigger version. I believe this is actually they're almost like kind of a normal size, but the hooks and everything, they all look like the same as like the big old Zara Spooks, where there's a big metal piece right in front of the hook, but works good. And then now we're in this transition, the fall transition. You can use these, but getting into later fall kind of tends to die off, and that's what hollow body frogs. Now the best thing about these is that you can cast them anywhere. You know, I have a video, and I'll put that link down in the description. But you can cast these frogs anywhere. So you know, if you're fishing docks and you want to use a popper, but you don't want to get it hooked onto the dock, literally you can put this, you can cast this, it can hit off the dock, you won't have to worry about it, and you can use it just as a popper. Now these ones, the regular frogs, they don't have rattles on them. You can put rattles in them, but if you had rattles in them, you can use them just as a walking bait right next to docks. But you know, like I said, it tends to, you know, frog fishing tends to slow a little bit down, get in the middle to the late fall. But you know, you can still catch them. You know, anytime you're fishing topwater, you can catch them. But I do like using these around docks, just because you know you can bang them off, and obviously muck, lily pads, all that jazz. So you know, those are, you know, like I said, they're kind of dying off this time of year, but they're still a valuable lure to have. And let's go on to the rod and reel that I have, that I mainly use. Now I've done this on my rod and reel arsenal. This is my setup for topwater. Hope you can hear me. There's some wind going on. And you know, I love this reel. This is a Abu Garcia Pro Max 3. It is 7:1 gear ratio, great for kind of topwater or any kind of frogs. This is really my got it for being a frog rod, but it works great for topwater. Works great. It's an 8-bearing reel. Pretty self-explanatory, you know. I've gone over this before, but. And then a Berkley Cherry rod. I am looking at a factory 8 rod, but you know, these ones work really good. This is a 7-foot heavy medium, or medium heavy, sorry, casting with the medium power. So, and that is spooled up with 50-pound braid. Now braid's really good topwater. Line, it doesn't sink. Now I do live in northern PA, so and we go into New York a lot, so we do fish a lot of clear waters. One thing I can say about this is it's still very profitable. It works very well, even up into the clear Finger Lakes, where you know you can see almost 10, 11 feet down. Actually 15 feet down, so you know, works still really well. Being on a top water, it doesn't really matter too much. But that's my one setup. Now if I have jig on this, because this is also my jig rod, this is pretty much my jig rod, or if I'm using frogs also, and using top water. This, which is my spinnerbait setup, I will use as well. It has monofilament on it, which right now it's a Berkley Solutions monofilament, which I actually just ordered some Berkley Tri-Line Big Game in 15-pound, which will work really good for top water, because you need the monofilament or braid so it doesn't make your bait sink down. But this is just a Abbey Garcia Silver Max, 7/3-1, and the rod is a medium 6.5. So that's, you know, and it works really good. Now, like I said, this is normally my spinnerbait rod, but I do keep this with monofilament, so it has a little bit more stretch and give with the single hooks, such as spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, but also so that if my frog rod or my topwater rod is in use, I have this one with monofilament, which will still work great with any kind of topwater. That's actually the line most people prefer. So, but those are my rod and reels that I use for any kind of topwater and the lures. Hope that you have learned something, and hit like down there and subscribe, please. All right.